Hey guys, it's Spacey Sims, and we are back with more Piofiore 1926, continuing the Alternativa route. And, okay, so, we are still in Chapter 1. We should possibly get to where we make our choice for our ending, but here's the fun part. So, for me, because I'm sure anybody who's played the game or whatever, for some reason, if you just read guides for no reason, even though you're not playing the game, I don't know, maybe you do that, who knows. So some people might know, but for me, it was a fun fact, okay? I didn't realize, like, I was like, oh, okay, we have Chapter 1, and then there's a save file point, and then you pick the ending. Okay, cool. I was thinking in my head, like, well, okay, how are we gonna do when we get to the endings? Because, you know, I like to have each character have kind of their own ending, so then we can see the CG, and then I'm like, but what if they're really short? Then I have to do, like, 5 different save files, right? Or, well, you know, we have to do 5 different parts just for the endings, otherwise it's like, well, like, what if they're only 10 minutes? You know, I did not freaking realize until I, like, scrolled down and looked. Because I haven't looked. I've seen, like, okay, there's the thing on how to get their endings. But I never really actually looked at that part of the guide. It's like this, which makes sense. Every single every route has been, like, 6 chapters. This is 6 chapters. 5 of them are in individual routes. So, okay. Holy shit! We don't have to worry about that. It's going to be like, okay, we're going to go down Gil's route, and then when it ends, and then the next part we just pick up starting with somebody. I don't know why I wasn't expecting that, because every other route has been the same length, but I'm like, holy shit, though. Like, I just wasn't, I was expecting the, like you get Alternativa, and then the endings are slightly different, but, like, no, like, a majority of the route's different. It looks like you choose between the Visconti, Laoshu, and the Falzone, and then so Laoshu would be going down Orlock or Yang, and Falzone obviously would be Nicola Dante, and Visconti is just Gil because they still won't let me date Oliver! Anyway. So, and then there's other ending. So there's, like, actually 6 technically in this. But yeah, so I'm going to assume that when we go, like, to the Laoshu, there's going to be a lot of skipping the second time we go through it, just because a lot of it's would be similar, the same thing with the Falzone and whatever. So, not technically 5 full-ass routes. 2 of them are going to be kind of more skipping some of it, I would assume. But, yeah, anyway, we might get to the point where we split off to start doing Gil's today, but I just was not expecting 5 chapters. I was like, this one will probably be fast, this route. Yeah, no, we're going to be here for the rest of fucking eternity. And I don't also know why my brain was like, Jesus Christ, this is a fan disc. This is, like, just a follow-up. This is a whole fucking game in itself. I mean, obviously, but, like, I don't know why in my brain I was just so like, damn, you've got more content than the original game almost. What the hell? Like, I mean, it should. It should have a lot of content. We're paying the same price as the first game. You know what I mean? But it's just for some reason, I guess, in my brain. I mean, we played Code Realize. We played both of those. But I feel like, was Wintertide Miracles a little bit shorter? Like, even still, like, even if you're getting, like, 30 hours out of it, you're like, that's still impressive. I mean, maybe not for, like, $60, you know, but I don't know why I was just expecting, like, okay, I mean, the routes we got for each character, the 6 chapters, were pretty decent. I was expecting this one was going to be a little bit shorter with the little endings. I don't know why when we got all this much plot going on that I was, like, shocked that it was going to take, like, 30 years to finish. My only thing is, though, maybe everything will be different. Maybe when we go through with Gil, you know, it'll mostly, because it's like, the plot's still the same. It's not like with each one of them, there was a different kind of plot going on. So I am really confused at how this one's going to work now that I think about it, because we're going to go down Gil's route, right, and get the ending, but is it gonna be so different when we go, then we're gonna have to be doing, because you know how I hate, like, okay, yes, I read this scene. I read this entire scene. Why am I doing it again? We're gonna do that again? Like, so I wonder how that's gonna be. Are we gonna be seeing the same things over and over and learning who the Phantom is over and over? You know what I mean? Well, that's bizarre. Well, this is gonna be interesting. Unless a bulk of it's the same, but there's different scenes. Huh. I don't know. I mean, we'll see. We'll see. But now I'm just like, are we going to be reading the same shit 5 times over? Because that's going to drive me crazy. Anyway. After breakfast, I headed back to my room and took a seat near the window to read a book. Sorry, that was like a 30-minute intro, but I was just really impressed by like how long this ending is. Jesus. This route is like crazy. Suddenly, I heard a knock on the door. I looked away from my book for a moment. Like it could have been like 4 or 5 chapters. And then the last chapter could have been kind of different depending on the love interest. But, like, no, it starts off like, it's different now. And then you go through 5 chapters. Like, that's... Anyway. Wonder who it is. I bookmarked my page and shut it. Leo, what's the matter? There's a guest here for you. He's waiting in the salon, so if you don't mind... this has nothing to do with records. As if he could read my mind, he made sure to reassure me. At first, it was like, there's a get, and then I'm like, oh, it's Gil. And I also need to get Dante, so if you don't mind heading down first, that'd be great. Before I could respond, Leo dashed down the corridor toward Dante's office. I kind of forgot for a hot second. I was like, who? Oh, yeah, no, never mind, it's Gil. A guest for me? Not knowing what to expect, I went down to the salon. Gil with flowers. Oh. I mean, I know we're not dating anybody in this, but he's like trying hard to win our heart right now. Is this because we saw you at the library and we had a nice walk home? I don't want to choose somebody. I want the man harem ending. I really wish that this had kind of gone down like a, like, you know what I mean? They could have. Wasted opportunity. Wasted opportunity. Hey there, Space. Yo. Again, Gil is such a fucking charmer. He comes out of nowhere and he just gives you flowers and you're like, okay. You win me over. Take me to Oliver. He brought out a colorful bouquet of flowers on bended knee. Whoa, are you proposing, Gil? Just wanted to see you. You look as lovely as ever, Signorina. How are things around here? You're bending down on one knee to give me flowers. This is intense. Everything's been good. I smiled and accepted the bouquet. Grazie, Gil. It's so beautiful. It'll look perfect in my room here. Good. I'll be happy just knowing they can bring a smile to your face when you look at them. The Phantom's last message had said he would be murdering people on a regular basis. It seemed Gil came to see me because he was worried about me. What a sweetheart. The flowers really were beautiful, but I was even more touched by his kindness. And then, oh, stop, no! You're like, oh, Gil, you're so... And then there's Dante with this look on his face like, you didn't bring me any? I really wish he would say shit like that. Gilbert, I thought I told you before to call me before coming over. Dante came into the salon with a frown as Leo followed behind him. He's like, thought I told you to call. Also, you didn't bring me flowers. I feel like Nicola would be the one to be like, wow, you didn't bring me any. Like, so nonchalantly. Dante's thinking it, but he would never say it. Just like, he's like, we're not friends. Yes, we are, bestie. I couldn't help myself. I was seized by the desire to see her. Leo's face! I don't want to choose anyone. I love this man harem shit going on where everyone's kind of fighting over us a little. And the other ones, it's like, oh, okay, and then you're kind of with Gil, and then you can't, you know, this one right now, it's like, it's all up in the air, and everybody's a little flirty, and like, Leo was trying to set me up on a lunch date with freaking, like, Dante, and Dante's like, Gil, why are you bringing her flowers? And Gil's all over her, like, throwing his fucking love at us, and like, Nicola's the only one who's like, just gonna keep it to myself. Same with Yang and Orlock. Okay, really, it's just Gil, actually. It's being very, like, out there, and it's like, you're gonna need to simmer down. But the looks on Dante's face are like, how dare you? Like, Oh, let me prepare some drinks for everyone. What can I get you? I have a cafe latte. Yeah, absolutely. Senor Redford? The same for me. Probably be bad form for me to start day drinking at someone else's place. Gonna day drink at his own? Oliver's like, Jesus. Leo, Gilbert will be leaving soon, so just a cafe latte for Space and me. Come on, lighten up, will you, Dante? I couldn't help but smile at their exchange. Aye. Double. And I'll be back from the kitchen in just a sec. Oh, there's also some freshly baked amaretti. Amaretti? So I'll get a few of those too. Type of meringue cookie. Almond flour is used in place of wheat flour. Thank you, Leo. I set down the bouquet that Gil brought for me as Dante and Gil both took their seats. I can't read. I don't know why that was so hard. So, everything's going on your end. We're investigating, but nothing of note to share yet. Figured as much. Same for me, too. Hardly a scrap of info to be found. You haven't received another record yet, have you? Not yet. The records of bits and pieces of information about the Phantom. Of course, there's a lot of useless information, but there may be a lead in there somewhere. Maybe a lead in them somewhere, sorry. We're not getting anything new until someone dies. Not a pleasant thought in the slightest. Dante nods in response to Gil's comment. If possible, I want to find the Phantom's whereabouts before that happens. We've definitely got our work cut out for us. A silence hung in the air. Leo returned with the cups of cafe latte and a plate of amaretti. We enjoyed them all together, along with a casual chat. Gil brought up the article that had riled up Dante, each time worsening Dante's mood. I feel like he did it more than once just to see. Like, how fucking mad can this fluffy kitten get? We ended up talking more about different topics aside from the Phantom. Wine straight from the barrel is the best. You just can't beat the aroma and taste. No way can I go back to some bland bottle wine after savoring these. Hey, is the companion wine always taste like this? Hey, you're not drunk already, are you? The sun's still out. Yeah, it tastes different, alright. Kinda has a metallic aftertaste. Oh, it sounds like poison. Hey, boss, you mind if we open this barrel here? Oh, God, there's a body in there. Oh, God, I was like, was it poison? Is it a metallic aftertaste like blood? Oh, my God. What the? Hurry, get the police! Someone call the police right now! Oh, there's a body in there. How the fuck did he get him in a wine barrel? Also, I'm guessing it's just like a limb or some shit, not a full person. It's like, how big is that barrel? Like, maybe it's a big barrel where like a person could fit. Okay, but like, how much, like, I mean, I've never seen an actual like wine barrel, so it must be pretty big. But like, you'd think there wouldn't be that much wine left in there after you stuffed a person in it. I don't, oh God. A few days had passed since Gil visited us at the Falzone family manor. The police had concluded their search, finding no additional explosives around the church. They also hadn't found any evidence that could help lead us to the Phantom. The burned rubble still hadn't been cleared. It's gonna take a while. I was walking through Falce with Orlock by my side. The reason for it being that Dante had made a suggestion yesterday evening during dinner. How about going to see the sisters tomorrow? I'm sure you've been worried. Really? Yes, so long as you don't mind having a bodyguard escort you. Thank you, Dante. I can't wait. And just be careful out there. It'd be much safer having the sisters come here to see you, Space. But security for one person would be far easier and more efficient if you were to visit them. I was excited to be out and about again with Orlock accompanying me. He smiled, perhaps noticing my cheerful expression. You look happy, Space. And because of the visit? Yes, and because it's been a while since I was last able to walk around outside. Me, literally. I mean, I could go walk down and get my mail, but it's been rainy. But also, like, I don't trust myself to go anywhere. Like, I'm fine. Promptly blacks out. So no, I'm not fine. I mean, the Falzone Manor is very comfortable, but there's nothing like a breath of fresh air. I think I understand what you mean. Orlock and I had a nice chat as we walked together down the street. Oh, Gina. Oh, is Gina in the barrel? Oh, no, we're going to Yang. Hey, good looking. From the Lao Shu. You got money? If you want, I can show you a good time. Not a good hooker voice. Be gone. Huh? You're terrible. I wouldn't mind having fun. I wasn't in the mood today. I like how the Meanwhile story is titled Gina, and he's like, get out! Like, huh? Yang, can you going out? Yes. Where to? Who knows? No! So just for your usual walk? Well, have fun! I turned away from the twins and went out. Oh, boring. I can only hope there'll be some movement. This boredom is killing me. That was it? It was titled Gina? Because of the hooker that was trying to pick up Yang? They usually have, like, secret, boredom, or something, but, like, Gina? It's really expecting her to end up... Oh, well, Gina might end up dead. Maybe that was what the call-out was. And then Yang's gonna be like, oh, that's a hooker I usually hire. And they're like, okay. Orlock and I had a nice chat as we walked together down the street. I'm just glad no one was hurt. Why are you not saying Sister Sophia? I also appreciate the Falzone and the Visconti families for finding accommodation for all of us. To be honest, the children have been a bit frightened ever since the explosion. Some cry during the night and want to go back home, but fortunately the others seem calm and are back to their usual selves. Most of them are just excited to be in a different place than usual. It's good to hear. That's good to hear. My voice, I was like, just cracked or something. I was relieved to hear that they were well. Elena stared at me for a moment. Weren't you in the church just before the explosion that night? And now you're living at the Falzone Manor? Yes. There was a particular reason that I needed to be under the Falzone's custody. Sister Sophia had been told of the situation, but Elena hadn't. Orlock, are you staying there with her too? I have some work to do, so I'm not always around. But I'm always nearby, so should she need me. Elena didn't know of Orlock's role as a disciple, but she had seen Orlock with Bishop Rosberg in the past when he came to visit our church. I wondered whether she had already pieced together what was going on. No, she's like, Orlock, are you there? Because she loves Orlock. We should ship them. I'm okay with that. Elena chooses her words carefully. Last year, after what happened that night, you ended up staying with the Visconti family. I trusted that there was a good reason for you to be with them, but... Are you sure the Falzone family's treating you well? You're not being threatened or anything, are you? Whoa, Elena, simmer down! Don't judge my men like that. If it was Yang, absolutely, probably, but... I'm fine. Everyone's taking good care of me. God. Elena sighed with relief, but her expression still held on to the same seriousness. And just like last year, I know there must be a reason you're staying with the Falzone. But you can't say why, right? I'm sorry. No, don't worry. I'm just worried about you, that's all. As long as you're okay, then I'm fine too. She's a good friend. She's like, you can't tell me. Nope. Alright, well, as long as you're fine. You know, instead of being like, bitch, why can't you tell me? She's like, just worried. Thank you, sweetie. Elena and I grew up like sisters, and we're still best friends to this day. My heart felt warm from knowing how deeply she cared about me. And it's nice to have a lady friend, like, who's not, like, after your men. You know what I mean? Where you have to, like, excuse me, but you know what I mean? Like, the, villain girl, well, the villain, what is it, just your competition or whatever? We have a good relationship. And I absolutely set you up with Orlock, because I'm not into him like that. He's my buddy, but like Orlock and Elena, I'll ship that. Not Leo. You can't have Leo, because I need to keep him like my little puppy, and I'm not going to breed him out, okay? I'm not saying I want to date Leo, but like, I like, that'd be like rehoming your dog. You know what I mean? He's my puppy. You can't have him. But like, Orlock should be happy, and I think him and Elena could be happy. Honestly, Orlock and that main character, like, take me out of the equation. Take my partial insertion out. That sounds gross. Wow. But you know what I mean? Like, most of the time we self-insert until the character does shit where you're like, that takes me out of it because I'm not like her. But like, she's so good and wholesome that she does work really well with Orlock. The church background and everything like that. Not really with any of the other, mafia members. It's a little bonkers, to be dead honest, when you like think about it. Me playing the character, I'm going to throw out some of her good wholesomeness, and I'm here for the debauchery of dating the mafia. So, me, I ship with the mafia, sure. Her, without me in her brain throwing out some of the goody two-shoes shit, absolutely with Orlock.
If you still have some time, why don't we continue our conversation over tea?
You just need to return before sundown. I think we have another hour to spare. And then I suppose we better hurry. 1 hour will go by in a flash. What time does the sun go down here? Elena spoke with a laugh. Taking the time to come and see everyone was well worth it, just for Elena's smile alone. I felt the tension that was pent up inside me slowly melt away. That night, feeling comforted by the thought that everyone was safe, I was about to drift off when... Who could it be at this hour? Dante, Nicola, Leo. Slightly confused by the sudden visitor, I climbed out of bed. Space, are you awake? We need to talk. Something wasn't right. I quickly put on my robe before opening the door. What's the matter, Nicola? I'm sorry to bother you so late, Signorina. Marco's in the salon now with a delivery. The way he looked, oh god, is it whatever was in that wine bottle? I braced myself for the worst. Judging by Nicola's expression, the delivery that Marco had brought was not a good one. I would hope it'd be a record, but I just feel like it's because they found somebody's body part, or a body, in the wine barrel, depending on how big it is. We hurried to the salon to find Marco and Dante seated. The body was found at a bar in Creta. I told you. A person or a part of one. Marco got straight to the point, then went on to explain the details of what happened. What the? Certainly isn't the scene of your usual bar fight. Crying, vomiting, screaming, non-stop shouting, the entire place was in utter chaos. Hello, police here. What seems to be the problem? Ah, Marco, thank God you're here. Inside that wine barrel. They'd found a naked, decapitated body. The words that Marco forced out of his mouth left me speechless. I felt the blood drain from my face as I pictured the scene. Well, it was part of a person. It was just all parts except for their head. I'm sorry for the gruesome news, Space. It's fine, but it's not fine. Good God, girl. I applaud her for being like, it's fine, but... My voice was shaky as I spoke. I mean, it's fine as in, like, Marco, I don't blame you, but, like, the story isn't over, is it? You brought something, too. Right. Yep. Marco brought out a familiar glass case with a record inside. Okay, all you have to do is figure out where he's getting these glass cases. Is there, like, it's not like he's going to the fucking local Joann Fabrics and picking up the shit, or, like, Michael's or some kind of, like, craft store, or, like, Home Goods or some shit, like Target. Like, he's probably going somewhere. So you'd be like, who have you sold all these to? Do you think he's stocked up on them? Is he like, when you're done, could you put them outside like an old-fashioned milkman? Like, make sure you put your milk bottles out. Put your record case out so I can take it in the middle of the night and reuse it. Like, where is he getting all these cases? Also, they seem pretty big and bulky. It's not like it's a thin case. It's, like, pretty hefty. With a flower inside. I mean, so, like, where are you storing these? The logistics! Like, come on, Scooby Gang, let's follow this. Go and be like, who's been buying lilies up here? Elenia, let's go find her. Like, who is buying all those lilies? Oh, it's a man in a mask. Okay, like, I'm just saying, nobody thinks to follow, like, the person. First of all, how is he recording records? Okay. How is he doing that? Second of all, where is he getting the glass cases and how is he storing them? I'm just saying. And where is he getting the somebody investigate this shit. Come on. Somebody's got to know some shit. Anyway, Marco brought out a familiar glass case with a record inside.
Behind the barrel was this record. And this too.
Invitation. He handed me a card. Oh. Written inside was, my beloved Space, reading by the window. Well, well, well. I'm just saying, the Phantom is in love with... I mean, Henry kind of was into us. So... I'm just saying, if the Phantom's in love with us, why can't I date him? Can we date him? There's no ending where that's possible, because then I was like, maybe it's secretly Oliver. Oliver, this was extremely convoluted way to ask me out. From now on, I should stay away from windows.
I came here because I wanted to see if this space on the card was actually you.
Thank you, Marco. I'm sure this is for me.
Figured as much. Bart already contacted the police when we just happened to pass by the place. Found this record right about the time the others came storming in. Some other cop had found it would have been kept as evidence and wouldn't have found its way to you. Which is why we made like we were assisting them in the investigation so we could hide the record. Here we are now.
Marco's voice is so fucked up. Sorry. Marco then scratched the back of his head, looking troubled.
Everyone in the station knows that I'm connected to the Fell Zone. Meaning things haven't been as easy as before, so I had to wait till night to come by.
No, I appreciate the trouble you went to in order to secure it. Had you not, the police may have connected her to the murder unnecessarily. She's our guest here, so I'm certain the new chief would have called her down to the station in the blink of an eye.
Yeah.
Marco nodded with his brow furrowed, then stared at Dante.
Dante, is this somehow related to the explosion at the church? Something bad's happening in town, right?
Yes, that's right. Dante affirmed it without hesitation. But Marco, I have no intention of getting you involved more than needed. This is a problem that only the Mafia can solve. After a long pause, Marco finally exhaled.
Yeah, I figured. I haven't been a detective this long for nothing. I got to telling me this is out of my hands.
Marco spoke in a weary voice. The sight of him was much smaller and tired than I was used to seeing him. Here we go. After Marco left, we moved to Dante's office to play the record on the gramophone. The record began to spin.
Good day to you, Space. I'm so very pleased to know that you've received this. But first, allow me to express my deepest condolences. Let us take a moment to look back on the deceased. Apparently, she was rather fond of drinking.
Is it Gina?
She's been known to tell friends that she planned to drink until her very last breath. Which is why I made her dream come true. How, you ask? By shoving her inside the barrel alive. I peeked inside from time to time, just in case. Too much alcohol really can kill you. It wasn't even a minute or two before she died. Her face in the end was positively devoid of beauty.
So it was a woman in the barrel, okay. Nicola quietly stopped the record in the middle of the message. He and Dante were looking at me. Are you all right, Space? Yes. From their concerned expressions, I guessed that I was looking unwell. You can keep playing it, Nicola. Then at least take a seat first. But we wouldn't want you to fall and get hurt. Thanks, Nicola. I appreciate it. I'll sit down. As I do randomly black out, so yeah, valid. Thank you. Look at this sweet concerned face. Dante led me to his desk chair. Ooh, we get to sit in Dante's chair! We're special now. I felt odd to sink into the large chair of a mafia boss, but I accepted all the same. I'm kind of into it. Even after I sat down, my legs wouldn't stop shaking. Nicola brought the needle back to the record.
That should be enough for the deceased. And now shall I talk about myself instead? We cannot hope to bond without knowing one another. What I'm about to share is something you must know in order to understand who I am. I'm a lover of all things beautiful, which is why I love you, Space. I'm especially taken with you from the neck up, and that gorgeous golden hair of yours. When I was young, I used to live in a world of fantasy. I didn't understand the truth behind the workings of this world. But then I found out how brilliant and wonderful the world could be when one looked for beauty in all places.
Was this something that ever came out of Henry's mouth, this type of thing? I don't really remember, so I'm like, this could be one of those things that points to Henry or points away from him. But I'm not sure which way the needle's fallen here, because I don't really remember.
In time, I learned how to embrace beauty at last. I discovered the magic that could transform putrid boredom into happier days. Truly, I could speak at length about this very thing. Although we must have a little mystery when embarking upon a relationship like this one. To bid you a proper farewell, I shall give you a preview of the next record to come. My fifth has already been recorded with previous thoughts and feelings, and hidden in a secret location for you to listen to soon. And now, Signorina, have you heard this quote? For women whose fair flower, being one displayed, doth fall that very hour. I do hope you're learned enough to know it. After all, we simply cannot be friends if we don't have similar tastes. Don't you agree, Space?
The whole Lily thing makes more sense when you realize that her name is Liliana and they call her Lily. And then the Lilies, that makes a little, it makes a little bit more sense, sorta, I mean, I don't think that's the whole thing, but it's also like, but, you can't put a space in the, I mean, I see that there's nothing in this record that'll lead us to the Phantom. He keeps talking about beauty and how he likes beautiful things, but that doesn't help us any. Right. Dante looked at me, then began to speak in a caring voice. It may be for the best if you don't listen to any of his future messages. No, I can listen. I think I have to listen to them. Hey, you're right. You're involved as the Key Maiden. There's a purpose in your listening to the records. You see. Understood. Dante's like, you don't have to do this. And Nicola's like, yes, she does. And we're like, I kind of do. And he's like, all right, fine. Dante reluctantly agreed after hearing Maya and Nicola's responses. About today's record. The Phantom made mention that the next one was hidden in a secret location. That alone doesn't lead us anywhere. It's only natural that he would hide it. Nicola? What is it? No. Nothing in particular, but there was one minor thing that's been bothering me since the second record at the church. Nicola thought to himself for a moment before continuing. The Phantom's theatrical in his choice of words, isn't he? I'm wondering whether there's a meaning behind it or if it's simply his style. When we first told you of a masked man in Chicago causing a stir whose name was the Phantom, what came to mind? Well... the Phantom of the Opera. Or the Phantom of the Casino. Okay, this is why if it's a totally separate character... Okay, they had to fucking know. When they made the original game, right, before this fan disc came out, they had to know that everyone was associating Henry and the Direttore as the Phantom of the fucking casino. Because, like, hello. You look at the thing and you're like, this guy, look at, who's the Phantom in the background? Because he looks like the Phantom of the Opera, right? And then he's in the casino, so of course you're going to call him the Phantom of the Casino. I do not think that I'm original in that. I'd never heard anyone calling him the Phantom of the Casino before, but, like, I know damn well other people probably have, okay? Because it's, like, a pretty logical conclusion to make. So you had to know. They had to know that people were, like, calling fucking Direttore the fucking Phantom of the Casino, right? And then they make a character, then they either leaned into it, if this is really Henry. Like, ha ha ha, Phantom of the Casino, Phantom of the Opera. All right, let's just fucking lean into it. Or they were like, oh, you know what? No. Let's make a whole other character that's like the Phantom of the Opera, and then we'll make it seem like maybe it's Henry, because Phantom of the, and like, but it's a totally other fucking character, because, like, I'm into it. I'm into it either way. If they leaned into the Phantom of the Opera thing because of Phantom of the Casino, that's hilarious. I mean, you kind of have to think, like, did they make him look like the Phantom of the... Like, that was the whole intent originally? And which leads you to go, Phantom of the Casino! Well, yeah, that's exactly what they were doing. You know what I mean? But, like, if they made a whole second fucking character to be the Phantom of the Opera, like the Phantom of Berlioz, and, like, seriously? Stop it. That's amazing. Phantom of the Opera, a novel published between 1909 to 1920 by French author Gaston Leroux. It was adapted into a silent movie in 1925 starring Lon Chaney Sr. and is a goddamn wonderful fucking musical. I got to go to New York City in high school with one of my classes, which I'm just going to throw out there. I know it was like back in ye olde times. I'm not going to go back into the date because I don't need anyone sending me a walker and to a nursing home, okay? But like, and it was like, we stayed at a hotel, but then it was like before, oh, okay, at 9 o'clock, everyone's meeting up in the lobby and we're going to go do whatever. But like, you could just go and get breakfast and just walk around the fucking city. They let high school kids walk around. I still like, I just think that that's weird. It's been 84 fucking years. Not really, but I'm like, that just seems kind of great. But anyway, one of the things we got to do when we were, because it was my fashion design class. And then it was that, and there was I forget what the other class was. Was it one of the other, like, film or theater classes or something? I don't remember what other class. It was, like, 2 classes that were going. And, like, so obviously the fashion design class was going to, like, the fashion quarter and, like, doing all these things. And we went to, like, a designer's, like, warehouse. Not like we didn't go to, like, any famous designer. But, like, it was, like, I don't even think that person was, like, you know what I mean? It wasn't like you'd see their name on the runway. It was like, whatever. But, like, other people that, like, you aren't, like, you know what I mean? Not, like, I can't think of any, like, my name is blanking on fashion designers. You have the top tier ones where you're like, oh, yeah, you see them on all the fashion runways in, like, Paris and Milan and all that shit. It wasn't like there was somebody else that, like, worked in New York City, but we got to at least go to their thing, and they talked about, like, production and all the stuff like that. So, like, cool, whatever. And we did like that while the other class was doing their other shit, whatever. But one of the things we got to do and we had to vote was going to a Broadway musical, and it was between Les Mis or Phantom of the Opera. And I was like, if I have to go to, like, no offense, like, fine. But I've always wanted to see Phantom of the Opera, and they were, like, the votes were so split that they actually, like, let you pick whichever one, and, like, one teacher took the group to Phantom of the Opera and the other one and I was so fucking excited because I got to see Phantom of the fucking Opera on goddamn Broadway. Like, I'm not, like, there is just something about that. Like, I mean, yes, if it was playing at a local theater here, sure, but I saw it on fucking Broadway, on the theater it was meant to be seen in. Like, well, you know, or what's his name? You know what I mean? You know, like the fucking, when the chandelier comes down, it actually comes, like, there's a chandelier that they have like, it was beautiful. It was fucking amazing. Obviously not the, like, original, like, casting run, because, like, the original cast run, if you buy, because I bought the soundtrack, like, for it, like, you buy it back in the day on CD, you can probably still get it. And I forget his name, But, like, the original guy who played the Phantom in the very, like, he's the one on those recordings, right? So, like, that wasn't the same one. Like, it wasn't the same performers as, like, the original run, like, cast run. Obviously, because I'm not sure when it started, but still, my God. I don't even care. Like, that man, like, that we saw when he sang, like, Jesus Christ, it was so beautiful. But anyway, I just had to share that because that's just one of my most exciting, like, seeing Phantom of the Opera on I think I still have the playbill from it because, like, I was just really excited. So, yeah, there you go. I haven't thought about that in so long, so it's one of those, like, oh, I get to dig this out of my memory trenches! And it's not oh, this sucks. It's like, this is a good one! Oh my God! Anyway. So, Phantom of the Opera. Exactly. And the movie's very popular, but there's a curious part of the novel based on the same name on which it was based. And the Phantom threatens the heroine with explosives under the opera house if she refuses his hand in marriage. So you think he caused the explosion to match the story? I mean, I'm just saying. Didn't he also... Okay. If this is Henry, didn't he plant the explosives in the casino as well? Wasn't he the reason? Like, didn't he do that? So it makes sense that it's him. If it's not him, then I'm really curious as to the overlaps here, you know? It could be a coincidence, but after listening to the records, it got me thinking, maybe this Phantom person's conveying a meaning to us apart from his records. Nicola's words jogged my memory. So then that quote he mentioned in his message...
Now, Signorina, have you heard this quote? For women whose fair flower being once displayed, doth fall that very hour.
I'm sure of it. That was a quote from a Shakespeare play. I mean, okay, I'm just going to throw this out there. That's the first thing that fucking came to mind. Because... And I don't Shakespeare. I mean, I did actually take a Shakespeare film class back in college. Took a lot of film classes in college. I have the weirdest, like, I had my fashion design class in high school, and then I took... And... Yeah, okay. It's just completely random. But I took a lot of film classes, and we did a Shakespeare class, and I... But, like, aside from that, or having you learned about Shakespeare, and you might... Unless you really read him, which is, you know, nigh impossible to do, for me anyway, you don't know all the lines. But, like, when that came up, I was like, Shakespeare? Because that's, like, the first thing, any kind of ye olde English-sounded thing, you're like, Shakespeare? And they're like, is Tom Cruise in Mission Impossible 36? And you're like, oh, okay, whatever. You know what I mean? Like, so not surprised. An English playwright considered to be one of the finest writers of English literature. Do you know which one? Not really, but I know I'd recognize the title if I saw it. I have some of Shakespeare's works here, so perhaps we can try looking. I had a giant annotated Shakespeare book. It was like 20 pounds. My sister has it now. They were family friends when they were moving. They got rid of all their shit. They're like those people that just like, we got our house. Oh, we're getting rid of everything. So I took that book from them. But then when I moved a long time ago, I was like, that thing's like 800 pounds. I mean, it was huge. It was probably like 8 to 10 inches thick. It was the complete annotated Shakespeare. It was huge, giant-ass book. My sister has it now for her kids. So there you go. This is it! I flipped through the pages, then handed the book to Dante and Nicola. Look here. It's a line from Shakespeare's play, Twelfth Night. Twelfth Night? Oh my god. That's one of the best. I love it. There's so many renditions of that, like, in modern tellings, but then there's also... Kenneth Branagh has always done so many motherfucking Shakespeare plays. Like, he's always done... Like, that's how you knew him before Harry Potter. I'm just throwing it out there. And I'm pretty sure he did Twelfth Night, and it was like... I'm sure it wasn't in Shakespearean language, but it was supposed to be, like, more like that. Not like... isn't it a... What's the Amanda Bynes movie that's basically like Twelfth Night? Like, basically, if you're a woman dressing as a man, you're Twelfth Night. That's basically, so. Anyway. A Shakespearean comedy is said to have been written for the end of the Christmas season. Oh, well, there you go. For women are as roses, whose fair flower being once displayed, doth fall that very hour. His quote was incomplete. He was missing the are as roses part. And so the secret location he brought up. Ah, under the roses. It was an allusion to the Latin expression sub rosa, in secret. Sub rosa, Latin for under the roses, or under the rose, indicating something of a secret nature. In Roman time, roses were hung from the ceiling at banquets as a reminder that conversations were to stay private. Ooh.
I am the Phantom, a ghost, no doubt, a tragedy hidden in the shadows, who rose from the fires of hell in pursuit of his only desire.
Maybe what he said about being hidden in the shadows was related to it as well. It can't be, but maybe... I love this. There's a bed of roses behind the church. Weren't we talking about that earlier in this part? Well, this path. I'll go and check it out. And take our men with you. Could be dangerous. Understood. Hey, you two wait here. I'll be back in 3 days. Nicholas smiled and quickly headed out. I was about to go to bed. Do I have to stay up till 4 a.m. for you to come back? I felt a sense of anxiety rising in my chest. Nicola finally returned later with a report. He found a 5th record along with a body. Of course he did. I don't think we're going to get to our split part in this. This is a long chapter, but... Whose house are we at now? What background is this?
Good day to you, Spacey. I trust you found this very easily with the help of the fearsome Mafia boys. At least, it is my sincerest hope. After all, it would be pitiful to know I spend so much time recording my voice to no avail. So please do hurry and find me as soon as possible. Now then, it seems that the Key Maiden's existence has the ability to drive others mad. But I'm not reprimanding you, my dear. However, it is so interesting to think that you and I both have that in common. As you can see... no, you cannot see me yet. Suffice it to say, I revel in the fact that I've driven others to madness as well. After all, humans cannot live alone. We all must connect in some form or another throughout our lives. What that means is there will be some who die simply from crossing their fate with yours. However, I do not believe that's your fault. Not as far as I can tell, my dear Space. It's the same with me as well. Why must I be blamed for those who died because of me? Now then, I believe this will do for today. I will send another record to you once I've grown bored enough to kill once more. Please look forward to it, Signorina. Farewell.
Dante contacted everyone after discovering the body found in the garden behind the church. Those involved came together the following night. A room was rented at an upscale hotel in Falce for the meeting. Okay, that makes sense, because I'm like, this is usually the hotel background. The body was found decapitated, much like the first one. The victim was also female and naked. Cause of death? Her abdomen was exposed in a rough manner. There was a pot near the body, so we believe rats ate her alive. Rats? What does a pot have to do with that? That's a form of torture. A jar full of starving rats is turned upside down and set atop a person's stomach. If the pot's heated, the rats will be desperate for an escape route, even if they have to make it themselves. The implication was clear. That is disturbing! And information I did not need in my brain. Nor did I want, sir. Thank you very much. I really shouldn't blame Yang for this. It's not his fault. It's Phantom's fault. It's horrible. Yes, it is. I couldn't hide my fear from hearing such a horrible way one could die. If he used rats, the first thing that comes to mind is the Lao Shu. Using rats in the art of torture has existed since ancient times, in all parts of the world. But troubling himself with such a method when more convenient forms exist. Perhaps he was paying homage to the Lao Shu.
If so, then was the barrel of wine supposed to be us? I mean, sure, we deal in alcohol, but... It's just a possibility at this point. We only have 2 bodies to prove this hypothesis. For all we know, it could just be coincidence.
Why didn't he shoot them if it was Gil? He likes guns. And also American, just saying. You know, Gil's part American, and we saw the guns in that. Was it his part? I'm sure it was his route. Getting a little excited. Anyway, Gil definitely is the one who's day drinking, though, so I'm just saying, yeah. You're like, who is the body in the one? I would have pegged Gil more than the Falzone, so. What's he gonna do for them? Well, because you know what it is, like, say the police find the victim, right? They found that. The first thing they're gonna think, it was the Lao Shu rat. Yeah, that's, you know what I mean? He's trying to link it to that. Like, it's a way, the Phantom is calling them out, you know? But then if the police find it and since they don't know about the Phantom, it makes the Mafia look a little sus. You know what I mean? Silence filled the room after Dante spoke. Gil breathed a tired sigh, then looked over at Orlock.
By the way, where is he? He's coming, right?
Yes, he should be here soon. Emilio! Speak of the devil! Speak of the 300-year-old man in a 12-year-old body. Just then, someone knocked on the door. Orlock quickly stood up from the sofa and walked over to open the door. A familiar figure entered the room. Emilio! Hello, Burlone Mafia and Key Maiden. We meet again. I came as soon as I could when I heard you had a question for me. I wonder what it could be.
We'll cut to the chase. I want you to tell us how to break the seal to the relic.
I expected this to come up, but what you're asking for is a well-kept secret. It is something I cannot disclose so easily. Might I add, breaking the seal to the relic is unnecessary in stopping the Phantom. He's like, also, you're probably not going to do it. Emilio gave a troubled smile, to which Yang responded with scorn. I'm well aware that the Church encourages ignorance in all things apart from the dogma they preach. However, did your own Messiah not work to enlighten the common people himself? If we're to fail in this, why bother putting us to the task in the first place? After the 8th sacrament, Dante's blood and the Key Maiden should be able to break the seal. Dante's and her life will be in danger if the Phantom knows the ritual. It would also mean that we won't be able to protect the relic. I'm just gonna throw this out there. This is the funniest fucking statement in the game. Dante and her life will be in danger if the Phantom knows what the ritual is! He's gonna perform the ritual and then do it, and Emilio's like, I assure you, he's not gonna do that. Like, is there like, yeah, oh my god, what if he finds out and like, blah, 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 and then he does it, and then he cuts our hands off, and then uses our blood, he could kill us, and it's like, how do you, and Emilio's over there like, that's not gonna work, because he's gonna be like, they have to have sex. Like, how do you think the Phantom's gonna force you to have sex at like knife point or gun, but there's 2 of you, and I don't know if Dante can work under that kind of pressure. I'm just saying, like, I mean, they don't know, but it's just funny knowing what the ritual is that Emilio's like, I don't think you have to worry about that. And they're all like freaking out until Emilio tells them, and then they're like, okay, well, all right, let's just pretend we don't know that. It's so fucking funny. Oh my god. Knowing what you know, and then just Nicola's statement is just... I understand some information must be kept secret, but the Church has already disclosed the existence of the relic to all of us here. And that was where all this began. Emilio let out a sigh after hearing everyone's thoughts. All right. This was traditionally known to the Keepers of the Grave prior to this generation. Allow me to explain. Emilio's reluctance to disclose the secret made me feel tense. Yeah, because Emilio's like, how do I tell them that you have to sleep with each other? Like, how do you... seal is broken by offering the blood of the keeper of the grave and the key maiden upon the altar under which the relic lies. Only a few drops of blood are needed, but prior to that, the keeper of the grave and the key maiden must be united as one. I love how Amelia's face, his eyes just look away like, the keeper of the grave and the key maiden have to, be one. What do you mean? I mean, like in the biblical sense. He's avoiding eye contact. As in, and this is awkward because they're all like, wait, what? And I'm just sitting there like the only woman in the room and knowing it's me and Dante, and we're like, saying their vows before God? No, Orlock. No, I think it's a slightly different process. I love Nicola's face right now. Orlock is like, you mean like getting married? Becoming one. Getting married. Okay, sweet, innocent little Orlock. And then Nicola's over here like, no, I mean, his face. The little sweet look on his face like, oh, Orlock. You're so innocent. Yang is laughing and cackling like all of us. Like, I can't. Oh, God, Yang, I feel you. Yang began to chuckle uncontrollably, his shoulders shaking. I mean...
How amusing that the keeper must first make a woman out of the key maiden.
I am a woman, even if I have not been in that situation yet. Yang, Jesus. She, obviously not me, I'm old. But like, I know he's using a euphemism, but still it's like, hey, Look how Dante's mad about it. He's like, how dare you talk about her that way? And I cannot believe you're talking about me that way. Like, please do not look at me like that. This is a ritual that was put into place outside of my control. I know. Well, who the fuck thought of this? The church, for all of its, like, no premarital sex and you're going to hell, living in sin, is like, you do have to boink and then slit your fingers open and then bleed on some shit. The fuck is wrong with you? What is wrong with you? That makes no sense. It's hilarious. I kind of love that they did this because it's like, it's so awkward and uncomfortable. And every time it comes up, you're like, I still can't believe that anybody thought this, like, what the fuck? Emilio pouted, making him look even more like a child than ever. Most of you know the teachings of the church. The 7 sacraments are among them. Yeah, but really, an 8th sacrament? Something about this one feels kind of wrong. Gilbert, true. Well, God did state in the Bible to be fruitful and multiply and replenish the earth. And then the church is like, keep it in your pants. That's not what God said. Just, could you be any more confusing, church? I had learned that passage myself, but what he was implying flustered me to the point that I was unable to speak. I know, like, this is 1926, even in the modern day, even if it were you, and even if you're like, okay, I've been around the block 6 times, whatever, like, you know what I mean? Whatever. It doesn't matter whether you've had, like, no experience or all the experience in the world. If you were sitting in this situation, he's like, you two kind of have to, and then you're like, this is an awkward conversation for me to, I just feel like it would be. It's just me. It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. I'd be like, this is an awkward conversation. Please, let's not talk about this anymore. Everyone in the room looking at you, and you're like, ah! Due to the secret nature of this information, I came here to tell you all in person. But now that you know, I will take my leave. I feel as though I've overstayed my welcome. He's like, this is awkward AF and I need to bolt. He spoke in a sulking manner and swiftly departed the room. I don't blame him. I would not want to be I had to come in here and tell you this. I'm leaving too. You think what Emilio said is true?
You doubt him. I can't say I don't relate.
Well, I mean, I know Emilio isn't the type of person to lie, but I'm just having a hard time with this. Yang seemed to be reminded of earlier and began suppressing a fit of laughter once again. I love Yang right now so much.
If the need should arise, We must be entirely sure the seal can be broken using these instructions. I suggest that we verify these facts ourselves by performing the sacrament.
There's no way I could fully agree to testing the ritual for the sake of it. Also, he just wants to make us feel as awkward as possible. I mean, it wasn't that I didn't like Dante, but doing this would be... This is such an awkward conversation. I mean, I like Dante and all, but like, I'm not ready to make that commitment. Oh my god. And again, like in 1926, like, she could, if she wasn't like the church girl that she is, which, you know what I mean, kind of goody two-shoes little Mary Sue. Okay, she's a decent character, I'm not saying that, but you know what I mean, like, she's the good little church girl over here, right? If she were just, like, not having been raised in the church and, like, with all that, like, nuns slapping you with rulers and shit, this would still be like, she could be the type of person who was like, oh, alright, sure, fine, okay. Or you could literally be the person who's like, I mean, it's not because I think that, like, God's gonna smite me or some shit, or I'm gonna go to hell, or I'm a whore for having sex with someone. You know, whatever the church teaches you, it's the, I mean, this is awkward, and maybe this isn't exactly how I wanted this to go down. You know what I mean? Still awkward. Oh my god, it's so good. Of course we cannot do that. Seeing that I couldn't respond to Yang, Dante refuted it in his own words. Because Dante's like, you're putting me on the spot too. This is awkward for me. At the very least, I cannot agree with any methods that disregard human rights. You know, he said that, and then the shit that he did in Orlock's bad ending in the first game. I'm not sure what you're talking about, but I think it's something to be decided by the two parties involved. Oh, Orlock still doesn't get it. He's like getting married, and Nicola's like, no, not quite. And Orlock's like, I don't get it. Oh! This whole thing is hilarious, but Orlock being like, I don't know what's going on. Oh, sweetie. The fact that Emilio has to explain it to you is a little awkward for poor Emilio. I mean, again, Emilio's like eternal. He's lived a bazillion lives, but the fact that he's in like a child body has got to be the weirdest fucking thing to be like, Orlock, I have to teach you about the birds and the bees. Okay? If neither of them agree, then I don't agree either. It wouldn't be right to force them. In any case, without their consent, there's no way the Phantom can get his hands on the relic. And knowing that alone's well worth our time, still the fact remains that they both have the power to break the seal. We need to keep you two safe at all times. Gil nodded in agreement with Nicola. Right now, it doesn't seem like the Phantom's going after Space or Dante. Of course, you'll need to be vigilant, but it'd be overkill to stay indoors all the time.
Oh, so are we not breaking the seal to the relic after all?
Yang was so looking forward to the awkwardness. That will be our approach for now. Breaking the seal simply increases the risk of it being stolen. Dante's also like, plus also putting me in the position where I have to have sex with, like, I can't work under this pressure because you're all going to be standing outside the door, I know it. And Yang's like, damn fucking straight. Yang will be in the room making sure you did it right. Just because he's that kind of ass.
I understand your reasoning, Falzone. However, the situation could change in the future. Would it not be prudent to prepare to move the relic if needed? You should conquer your fears and receive this right as your religion commands.
Everyone else is like, Orlock's over here, I don't get it. And Nicola's like, let's just, okay, anyway. Nicola and Gil are like, yeah, if they don't, okay, let's just not bring it up and we'll just whatever. Dante's like, yeah, no. I'm like, I'm not comfortable with this. And Yang's like, come on, do it, guys. Let's go. This is literally Yang's version of being Gil, being like, so the governor challenged you to a duel, man. You gonna fight him? Why is everybody gotta fucking poke the marshmallow? Oh, Jesus Christ. You know what it is? They're doing it because they're like, he's gonna growl at us and look angry, but he's not gonna do a damn thing about it. Which isn't true, because Dante knows how to slice a bitch. We saw that. We saw him cutting up Raoul. So, like, he absolutely is a murder muffin, like a freaking murder muffin. Well, yeah. He's absolutely a murdery marshmallow, but he just seems so docile. Like, you know what I mean? I know he could absolutely kill us, but I wonder if there's another way. Huh? I blinked a few times at Nicola's mumbling. He's like, what if it was me? And you're like, still not happening, Nicola. It's been told that only a keeper of the grave and the key maiden can unseal the relic. But that means there's a chance that the relic may remain sealed for all of eternity.
I see. There's a war or something. It's not impossible for the whole family to be wiped out at once.
If the bloodline can be cut at any time, there must be another way to break the seal. How can they be prepared for a situation like that? And there has to be another way. I'm gonna go with the people who thought, like, boinking in order to open up a relic probably weren't thinking that far in advance. They were literally horny assholes who were like, yeah, yes, to boinker, yeah, hope she's hot. There's tickle bitty. I'm just saying, I'm just throwing it out there, like, who else would come up with this shit? Yang seemed to be convinced of it. Why don't we ask Emilio again? And that may be difficult. I'm sure he'd have told us from the very beginning if there were another way. The secret he revealed has been kept for generations. I'm not sure there even is an alternate means. Neutrality. We're definitely not getting the split in our thing. We'll get that probably in the next part, because we're overtime right now, but we'll finish this up. It's just because I was laughing too much in this whole entire fucking goddamn scene. I can't help it. Damn it! And the world is the chief thinking. Chief, what do you mean we don't need to investigate any further?
What are you talking about, DeFeo?
The body found at the bar in Creta. It's obvious her death wasn't natural. And now another report of a mutilated body behind the church? We may not have discovered the connection between these two incidents yet, but it's obvious there's something going on in this town as we speak.
I'm aware of your distaste for the Mafia.
Huh? Yeah, but
I heard from your father that you are a just and law-abiding son. Which is why I understand how you feel, but let me ask you this. Do you think the Mafia is involved in their deaths, DeFeo?
What do you mean?
Most unnatural deaths in Berlin are connected to the Mafia, so it's only natural to assume their involvement by default.
It's still too early to determine that it was the Mafia, but I hadn't yet ruled it out.
These Mafia maggots will squabble and consume each other in due time. Let them do it to themselves instead of spending our effort on them.
Also, the funniest part is, though, it's like, but when has the Mafia ever stuffed a body into a barrel of wine? Or, okay, the rat's eating someone's intestines. Sure, if they're trying to peg the louse shoe, maybe Yang would have done that. But I don't really think of Gil as, he's like, I'm gonna shoot him and I might cut him up, but he's like, I'm not gonna put them in a barrel of wine. That's a waste of wine, man. Fuck that shit. The Gil's not gonna waste wine like that. Rude.
The Berlin police will not get involved in these incidents moving forward.
Chief knows something.
Solving the murders will only assist the Mafia, whichever side desires its resolution. Our duty is to the police, isn't it, DeFeo?
Oh, the people. The police? I was like, what the hell? To the people, sorry. I might have agreed wholeheartedly with the chief last year. Stepping into the Mafia's business often caused even more trouble. Now, I think I make choices on my own. Seek the truth that would illuminate the path to justice. My way of thinking had changed. My clenched fist shook with frustration. Listen, Roberto! Shut your fucking trap. Stay out of it. And if there were, it would no doubt be kept an even stricter secret.
Well, guess it's time for us to look into this business from another angle, then.
Gil seemingly unconvinced, shrugged his shoulders.
We can't be bothered too much by the seal to the relic.
True. There were other things requiring our attention. The Phantom mentioned that he could easily destroy Berlin.
I do recall something along those lines. As a flower might fall to the water, was it? Strangely poetic. And yet I cannot be bothered to understand his ramblings.
We can't even be sure what he meant by destroying the town. It isn't a metaphor, is it? Maybe destroying the town's economy? I'd assume that'd take a fair bit of time. how I get them. And maybe trying to harm the town in a more direct way.
Like a fully equipped army or something?
As is something as quick as that. The Phantom has power to bring actual ruin. We'll need to stop him as soon as possible. We have little time to prepare countermeasures. And we'll also need to figure out who this Phantom really is in order to learn what he has up his sleeve.
Right. I'll go ahead and gather whatever information I can about the Phantom from when he was lurking around Chicago. We got connections with the Chicago Mafia since we're planning to move there soon. I reckon it won't be too hard to get some leads.
Nicola nodded in approval. We're counting on you, Gilbert. We should also check on the Direttore as well. We wish to confirm whether this Phantom character is the same person. Yes. If he is the Direttore, then it'll be much easier to strategize against a known entity. I doubt we can discover the current whereabouts of our dear director. If I'm not mistaken, so much time was spent last year just to learn his name. I mean, it sound like you went through all the trouble of investigating the matter, but wasn't it the Falzone family and the detective Roberto De Feo who did most of the work? I'm sure we can find something if we look hard enough. I see. You have a point. Yang nodded in agreement with me, despite sounding thoroughly uninterested in the whole thing.
Well, try and find out what you can, Yang. Wasn't the Direttore connected to Lu Huanhu?
Redford, since you know where to look, why don't you do it yourself?
Well, sure, if I was connected to them like you are. You gotta carry the load at least sometimes.
Yang frowned with displeasure, then exhaled wearily. I mean, this is going on forever, but okay. I thought, like, usually after the side story, the meanwhile stories, and then this ends fast, but no, we're still going.
Fine, then. I'll see what I can learn about the Direttore. He was born in France, correct?
Yes.
One of a prestigious Gallier family that boasted powerful connections throughout Italy. Became a governor lapdog and was assigned to the Barlone Casino as their new director. That was what we knew last year, but is there more to his background?
Well, yeah, that's interesting because we know Henry Lambert, right? But I wonder... My God. So now I'm just wondering, because I can't remember. So, okay. So that was a real person that he was pretending to be, but he's not really that person? But then what if the real Sebastiano that, like, Henry was pretending to be him is the Phantom now? So it is you, but also not you! Holy fuck, that's weird. Because now I can't remember. Was he like, did they like, oh, nope, killed him, took his identity and pretending to be him? You know what I mean? No, not that we know of. We didn't need to investigate the Direttore's background beyond that at the time. After Yang pondered for a moment, he began speaking in a nonchalant tone.
I suppose I can investigate the Galliers and his early life in France. A little one who also has connections to Chicago that I may be able to exploit.
You're really going to do all that for us? I was a bit surprised at Yang's offer, and he responded again in a nonchalant tone.
It requires no exertion whatsoever. I can access a wealth of knowledge through the...
Can't pronounce that, so sorry.
After all, the Chinese Mafia has ties to our brethren throughout the world.
True. There's a Chinatown in most every country.
Journeying to even the most far-flung locations and taking root is but a mere glimpse of our strength.
Yang narrowed his eyes, speaking with a growing sense of irritation.
Whilst you are being robbed by the Lu Huanhu by way of apology, they are leeching off the bounty of my labor and contributing nothing in return. I will have them earn what they've taken from me. This should begin to balance the scales and alleviate my resentment.
Yang spoke with contempt, making it very clear that he hated the Lu Huanhu. The Falzone family will take action in a way that only we can.
Oh? In what way is that?
The church promised to placate the government should we resolve this case. Currently, we're already experiencing their oppression firsthand.
True. Leaving them alone would only make matters worse. Could lead to a situation similar to the counterfeiting fiasco from before.
The fascist party continues to enact laws that benefit only them. Because of that, we haven't had our say in politics as of late. Still, the Falzone family wields a stronger influence in politics than any other family, which is why we'll work behind the scenes to ensure that the Burlone Mafia is able to move freely independent of the church's will.
Making the most of your strengths, I see.
That would actually help a lot. Otherwise, all our future meetings will be held behind bars. No one but the Falzone will be able to pull this off.
True. Do your best to rub whatever elbows you must in order to succeed.
One other thing in relation to the fascist movement. It's obvious the police aren't taking any action. They've completely abandoned the investigation. After another unusual death is reported in a short span of time, the deaths haven't even been disclosed to the public, which is strange considering Lestampo would normally be all over the story. He was right. I'd been reading the same newspapers as the others. There were only articles about fascism and declarations by the party. Perhaps the police haven't reported the incidents to their headquarters in Rome. Or maybe they have, but Rome's telling them to keep quiet. Those both sound possible, and the new chief's a hardcore fascist from Rome who hates the Mafia. If we don't keep an eye on them, they may get the better of us, which is why I'm planning to look into what's happening in Rome, too. I think I can help people, too, on my trips back to Rome. Grazie, Orlock, but there's something else I'd like you to do. I'd like you to investigate the Iron Crown in the church. Remember what the Phantom said in the record? That the church sought to protect themselves by recovering the Iron Crown? But that's known to the public, whereas the Burlone relic isn't. The church may prioritize retrieving the Iron Crown over dealing with Burlone for now. So then, if we do not cooperate with them, they may decide to exchange this town, including the relic, to the Phantom. Wouldn't be surprised if they did, but we have more to concern ourselves with than their betrayal. I know the church is divided. We'd appreciate it if you could find out the different agendas in conflict. Sure. You know I'm with the church, too. Of course, but I also trust you. We've known each other for quite some time. I trust you, too. You saved my life so many times already, Orlock. Grazie to you both. Ow! Yang looked at me.
What about you?
Me? He was asking me what I was going to do while everyone else was working. I don't want to just wait around for everyone else's answers. I'll learn more about the relic and whether there's another way of breaking the seal. Yang responded in a bored voice.
I doubt anything fruitful will come of it. Unless you believe an ordinary woman like yourself will stumble upon the secrets of the relic whose existence was hidden for ages.
I know it won't be easy, but I'll do whatever I can.
That's the spirit. Just check out what you can since we're all grasping at straws here.
Oh my god. I'm sorry, this is the longest part in history, but we're almost to the point where we get our save file. I'm just saying, it might be in the, we might get, if we get to the point where we have to save, then we're straight up. Anyway.
Welcome home, brother!
I'm back! Welcome home, you're late today.
Well, there were some pretty flowers growing alongside the road, so I stopped to look at them.
I see.
Am I late for dinner?
Not at all. We have ossobuco today. It's better the longer it's cooked, so let me heat it up now.
Don't trouble your mother like this.
How nice of you. Wonderful indeed. Such a fatherly thing to say, isn't it? By comparison, Mother, you're too nervous around your own son. That's no good. No good at all. I'll have to deduct some points. Now your hand. Do not resist. If you do, I may accidentally slip.
I kind of feel like this is Phantom?
My mother! Oh my, I'm so sorry, Mother! I spilled your blood all over the table! But do not fret, spilled blood can be easily remedied, though the same cannot be said of your severed finger.
I feel like, Cuckoo!
That's the spirit. Just check out what you can since we're all grasping at straws here.
There could be something we're overlooking right here in town, too. For all we know, there could be something hidden that only those who know the legend would be able to find. By the way, we need to talk about you for a moment, Space. Me? Yes, you're the Key Maiden. We're one of the parties involved in breaking the seal to the relic. This is where they're going to ask me where I want to stay or who I want to go with, probably, and that's where we choose if I'm staying with the Visconti, the Falzone, and then that's how we get our paths. That's what I'm guessing. When the choices were Falzone, Laoshu, or Visconti, I was assuming it was going to be like, who do you want to stay with? Type of a thing, right? And we have an issue now holding the Phantom consistently addresses you in his messages. Knows that the information in the messages will be shared with the Berlin Mafia through her. Right now he's only sending her records, but judging by what we've heard until now, there's a possibility that he'll target her directly. I believe so too, which is why I suggest that she continue to stay with the Falzone family. Can't she stay with the Visconti family too? I can protect her personally. It's the responsibility of the Keepers of the Grave to protect the Key Maiden.
I must say, you have taken on enough burdens in that regard, Falzone.
A smile slowly formed across Yang's face. I love that they're all fighting over me. This is great. I don't want to stay with any of them. I want to stay with all of them. Let's keep this man harem going. Guys, why don't we all get a house together, man harem?
You're a triad in alliance, aren't... Oh, we're a triad in alliance, aren't we? I cannot leave all the work to you. I'll be glad to offer my hand. She'll be very secure in my own nest.
No way we'll let her go to the Laoshu.
If she's going to the Laoshu, then I'll go with her too. I'm not sure what Yang will do. I can keep watch over the Laoshu as needed.
Oh, is the disciple suspicious? Don't you have faith in me after all we've been through?
Not at all. Dante cleared his throat to change the subject, turning to me.
If you don't mind, we'd like to honor your wishes and let you decide.
I'll protect you no matter where you go, even if you choose the Laoshu.
Francesca, your powers of persuasion are lacking.
You're certainly one to talk. Gil chuckled and turned his attention to me.
Regardless of who you go with, we're all agreed that protecting your life's the priority. So you're free to decide whichever place sounds best.
Well, you've been with us for some time now, so I understand if you want a change of scenery. Feel free to decide however you wish. Thought for a bit, then responded. I'm saving here, and we're gonna stop, because this part is so fucking long. It's so fucking long. We're an hour and 22 minutes in. So I am going to stop here, and we will start here at our save and pick going with the Visconti, because we're going to do Gil's route first, because we're going to go in the order that we went in playing the game. So we'll do Gil, then we'll do Orlock, Yang, Nicola, then Dante. So we'll be going to the Laoshu twice in a row, and then the Falzone twice in a row. So like, whatever. But anyway, I'm sorry that I'm cutting it off in the weirdest spot, but it's like we've been 23 minutes over, and Jesus Christ. So I will see you guys next time. Remember to give the video a big thumbs up and subscribe to see more.